So let's talk about HDR panoramas and HDR panoramas. Stitching a panorama is really easy in Lightroom. Simply select the images by holding Control and highlighting them. Then right-click and select Photo Merge, then Panorama, or click Control M on the keyboard. Now this is an example of how not to shoot a panorama. I shot this panorama handheld. I just wanted to make sure I got the shot before the rainbow disappeared. So as you can see, we have a few options to make this image stitch together the best. I tend to give each one a try and move the boundary warp until it fits most of the image. I tend to either go for one that either looks the best or has the least amount of boundary warp added. Now, if you set up your pano properly on a tripod, your image shouldn't need as much warping. This is why taking your time in the field is so important, but sometimes you just don't have time and getting something is better than missing it completely. So for this shot, perspective requires the least amount of boundary warp, but it does have a couple of defects on the edges to deal with. A great tool to use here is the Fill Edges tool. Effectively, Lightroom is using the content aware to clone in those edges. Quite often this works really well and means that you don't have to do as much warping. You could crop in a little to remove these areas, and sometimes this is a better option. If you check Create a Stack when the pano merge is complete, all of the images used will be grouped together in a stack. For blending exposures, we can use the HDR blending feature built into Lightroom. This is a great way of increasing the dynamic range of an image. If we can't achieve an even exposure in one shot, HDR blending can be a great tool. Of course, we will have to bracket our images when we're shooting for this technique to work. For this example, I have very bright areas of the image and very dark areas of the image. I bracketed this image at 1-stop increments, so 2 stops either side of my base exposure. To make this technique work well, we need to have the camera locked down on the tripod for the best results. Simply highlight our set of bracketed images and right-click Photo Merge HDR or Control and H on the keyboard. I usually leave Auto Align layers checked in case there are some movement during the shots, and I leave Degauss set to none. Create Stack to group the image together and click Merge. Job done. We now have an image with a lot more dynamic range where we can pull lots of information from the highlights and the shadows. The HDR Pano is very much the same, but it will blend bracketed images together whilst creating a pano, very much in the same way that we've talked about above.